Ethan Parker walked through the spaceport corridor, his boots echoing softly on the metallic floor. He carried a small tablet in his hand and adjusted the strap of his satchel over his shoulder. Working at the orbital station above Earth was not what he had imagined when he was a boy. He had dreamed of adventures in space, of exploring strange planets, and meeting aliens. But the reality was mostly paperwork, monitoring docks, and guiding visiting crews. Still, he liked it. It was peaceful most of the time, and he liked being part of something bigger than himself. The station was busy today. Cargo ships from nearby planets moved in and out of the docking bays. Maintenance drones hovered in the air, moving parts from one place to another. Ethan's supervisor, Laura, had just handed him a new task. He was to guide an alien visitor from her ship to the main customs area. Usually, these visitors were polite, quiet, and serious. But Laura warned him that this one might be different. Ethan felt a small knot of excitement in his stomach. He had never guided a high-ranking alien before. He reached the docking bay and looked up. A small, sleek alien shuttle had just docked. Its hull was polished silver and reflected the lights of the station. The airlock hissed, and then the door opened. Ethan stepped forward to greet the visitor. That was when he saw her. She stepped out, and Ethan froze for a moment. She was taller than most humans, but not very tall for her species. Her skin shimmered slightly, like the surface of a bubble catching sunlight. Her hair was silver and fell in soft waves around her shoulders. Her eyes were a bright violet, glowing faintly under the lights. She wore a dark uniform with glowing lines that pulsed softly as she moved. She looked at him carefully, her head tilting slightly, as if studying him. Ethan's heart raced. He had seen aliens before, but she was different. There was something gentle about her presence, but also strong. He cleared his throat and stepped forward. "Hello," he said, trying to sound calm. "I'm Ethan Parker. I'll be your guide here." She looked at him with curious eyes. A soft hum escaped her lips, a sound that Ethan's translator could barely catch. It converted the musical tones into English, but only roughly. The words came out as, "Greetings, honored one." Ethan smiled nervously. He was used to strange phrases, but this felt different. Then something unexpected happened. The translator glitched for a moment. Instead of converting her words correctly, it tried to match Ethan's attempt at repeating her greeting. He had wanted to say the alien word back, as a sign of respect, but the device misheard him. "Welcome, gorgeous," it said, in a clear, loud voice. Ethan's mouth fell open. He hadn't meant to say that. He looked around, but everyone else in the docking bay had stopped what they were doing. Security drones hovered closer, and other workers turned their heads. His face burned. He wanted to disappear. But then something even stranger happened. The alien girl's cheeks glowed faintly pink under her shimmering skin. Her eyes widened, and she tilted her head slightly. She took a small step closer to him. Her lips curved into a soft, shy smile. "Say it again, human," she said in careful English. Ethan froze. Did she just ask him to say it again? He blinked. He wanted to apologize, explain that it was a mistake, and run away. But he couldn't move. He had never seen anyone react like this before. His hands trembled slightly as he lowered his tablet. I didn't mean," he began, but she held up a hand, stopping him. "I know you did not understand fully," she said, her voice soft but musical. Ethan's mind was spinning. He had never been complimented by anyone, let alone an alien visitor from a distant star system. He tried to find words, but none came. She laughed softly, a sound like wind chimes, and Ethan felt his heart race faster. "My name is Lyra," she said. "I come from a place far from here. I have traveled many light years. And you are the first human to speak to me like this." Ethan nodded, still unsure what to say. I, I'm glad to meet you, Lyra, he finally managed. I mean, welcome to the station. Lyra tilted her head and studied him carefully. You are honest, she said. I can see it in your eyes. You did not lie. You did not hide. Most of my people would be careful, cautious. They would choose words that do not offend. But you spoke freely. Ethan felt a small smile appear on his face. Maybe this was not as bad as he thought. I try to be honest, he said. Even if it is not perfect. Lyra's blush deepened slightly, but she nodded. I like your imperfection, she said. Then she paused. Will you take me to the customs area? I wish to see this place where humans and aliens meet. Ethan nodded quickly, still nervous, but relieved to have something to do. He gestured toward the corridor. This way. Please. As they walked, Ethan tried to calm his thoughts. He kept glancing at her. Every so often, she would look at him with those bright violet eyes, and he felt as if she could see into him. He wondered if all aliens could do that, or if it was just her. Do you like this station? He asked, trying to make conversation. Lyra looked around. It is interesting. Humans have made it strong, but also alive. I have seen stations before, but they were cold. Here, I see movement, sound, life. I like it. Ethan smiled. It is our home in the sky. We try to make it feel alive, even if it is just metal and lights. They reached the customs area, and Ethan explained the procedures. Lyra watched everything carefully, asking questions about the scanners, the badges, and the rules. Ethan answered as best he could. Sometimes he had to pause and translate her alien words manually, but she was patient. At one point, they stopped near a large viewing window. From there, the curve of Earth was visible, glowing blue and green against the darkness of space. Lyra stepped closer to the glass and pressed a hand against it. Ethan stood behind her, unsure if he should speak. It is brave, she said softly. This world, it shines against the dark. It does not hide. Most worlds I have seen are careful. They hide. Earth does not. Ethan felt a lump in his throat. We try, he said. Even if we are small, we try to shine. Lyra turned to him. You are small? She asked, her voice curious. He laughed softly. I mean, humans are small compared to your people. Your ships. We are not very powerful yet, but we try to be brave. She nodded slowly. Bravery is important. I can see it in you. Ethan's heart raced. She looked at him again with that soft, glowing blush on her cheeks. He realized he had made the right choice by being honest, even if he had said the wrong word at first. Ethan, she said quietly, do you always speak like this to strangers? He shook his head. No. I usually try to follow rules. I am not good with strangers. She smiled faintly. You are better than your rules. That is rare. They continued to walk through the station. Guards and workers watched them, curious about this small human who spoke so freely to a royal alien. Ethan felt nervous under their gaze, but focused on Lyra. She was calm, patient, and genuinely interested in his world. At one point, her communicator beeped. She looked at it and frowned slightly. Ethan noticed the alien symbols on the screen. They seemed important, serious. She tapped the device, and it stopped. I have a duty to my people, she said. Ethan nodded. I'll try to show you as much as I can. Even if I do not know everything, I can at least tell you the truth. I, too, Lyra looked at him, her eyes bright with curiosity and something else he could not name. I like the truth, she said, even if it is messy. As they approached the guest quarters where she would stay, Ethan felt a mix of relief and excitement. He had survived the first meeting. He had not embarrassed himself completely, and she had not left angrily. More than that, he had felt something strange, like a connection, even though they barely knew each other. Lyra turned to him before entering the room. "Ethan," she said softly, "do not be afraid to speak freely around me. I like it. Even when you make mistakes." Ethan swallowed. I will try not to." She smiled. A soft, shy smile that made her cheeks glow even brighter. Then she stepped into her quarters, leaving the door slightly open. Ethan stood there for a moment, watching her. He realized that this visit was going to change more than just his work schedule. Something about her, something about this day, felt like the beginning of something larger. Something he could not yet understand. The spaceport continued its quiet hum around him. Cargo moved, drones flew, and lights blinked. But Ethan felt a strange calm. He knew he would have to guide Lyra through the station for several days. He also knew he would have to watch her carefully, learn her habits, and answer her questions. But for the first time, he felt that maybe he was exactly where he needed to be. And then he remembered the first words he had spoken. "Welcome, gorgeous." He could not stop a small, nervous laugh. She had asked him to say it again, and somehow, he wanted to. Somehow, he wanted to say it again, and mean it. For now, though, he had to let the moment pass. He tapped his tablet, checked the docking schedules, and made a mental note to prepare for their next tour. Little did he know that this small, accidental compliment would be the start of a friendship, and perhaps something more that could change the lives of both humans and aliens in ways no one had imagined. The next morning, Ethan arrived at the docking bay early. He checked the schedules on his tablet and adjusted his satchel. Today, he would escort Lyra through more of the station. He tried to calm his nerves, but he felt a flutter in his chest at the thought of seeing her again. Lyra was already waiting at the docking bay, standing near her shuttle. Her silver hair shimmered under the station lights, and her violet eyes followed every movement around her. When she saw Ethan, a small smile appeared on her face. He felt his heartbeat quicken. "Good morning, Ethan," she said softly. "I hope you slept well." "I did, thank you," he replied, smiling. "I hope you rested too." Lyra nodded. "I rested. The sleep pods are comfortable." She tilted her head. "Humans have many strange inventions." Ethan laughed. "Comfortable enough, I guess. Not as advanced as your sleeping chambers." "I am sure." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "They are quiet, but I like simplicity sometimes. It is peaceful." Ethan led her through the station corridors, showing her areas she had not yet seen. The station was vast, with many sections devoted to science, trade, and maintenance. Lyra looked at everything carefully, asking questions about machines, lights, and the people working around them. Ethan explained what each area was used for, and tried to make the descriptions simple and clear. "Why do humans build so many levels?" she asked. "It seems crowded." Ethan smiled. "We have to use space carefully, but humans also like to watch each other. It is comforting to see life moving, even if it is busy." Lyra nodded slowly. "I see. You like life, even the small things. That is interesting." As they walked, Ethan noticed that some of the other station workers kept glancing at them. He realized that guiding an important alien guest drew attention, but Lyra seemed unconcerned. She moved gracefully, her eyes bright and curious. At one point, they stopped near the viewing deck. The glass wall allowed them to see Earth below, spinning slowly in space. Ethan leaned on the railing, and Lyra stood beside him. "It is beautiful," she said quietly. "I have seen many worlds, but this one is alive. The colors, the clouds, The oceans. It moves like a living being. Ethan nodded. It is our home. We try to take care of it. Lyra turned to him. Humans are brave, she said. Even small. You try to make a difference. Most of the worlds I have visited hide from danger. You face it openly. Ethan felt his face warm. He had never thought of humans in that way before. They continued their tour, moving into the cafeteria. Lyra had never seen anything like it. Tables and chairs lined the walls, and humans and aliens ate together in a mix of smells and colors. Ethan handed her a tray with some human snacks, small pieces of fruit, and a fizzy drink. What is this? Lyra asked, examining the drink carefully. Just a fruit drink, Ethan said, smiling. Lyra looked hesitant but took a sip. Her eyes widened, and she made a soft sound of surprise. Interesting. Sweet and sharp at the same time. I like it. Ethan laughed. See? You are trying human food already. That is progress. Lyra smiled faintly, a blush rising slightly on her cheeks. She sipped more slowly, learning the taste. Ethan watched her, feeling a strange happiness at seeing her enjoy something so simple. They sat together, talking quietly. Lyra asked about human customs, music, and games. Ethan explained as best as he could, using simple words and pictures on his tablet. She listened carefully, fascinated by every detail. I do not understand why humans laugh at small things, she said, sipping her drink. But it is pleasing. It is life. Ethan grinned. Laughter is important. It helps people cope, helps them connect, even when things are hard. Lyra tilted her head. Humans are strange and brave. I like that. After lunch, Ethan showed her the station's gardens. Small plants floated in magnetic containers, with soft lights mimicking sunlight. Lyra reached out, touching a leaf carefully. It shimmered slightly under her touch. Life grows differently here, she said. You're humans. You try to bring life even to metal. It is impressive. Ethan shrugged. We try. Even small things matter. A plant, a flower. It makes people happy. Lyra smiled faintly. You are honest, Ethan. That is rare. Most beings hide their thoughts. You do not. Ethan felt embarrassed but pleased. I try. I do not know everything, but I try to be honest. They continued to walk, and Lyra asked more about humans. Ethan tried to explain their strengths and weaknesses, their fears and hopes. He told her about courage. Not the kind shown in war, but the kind shown in everyday life, helping each other, speaking the truth, standing up for others. Lyra listened carefully, fascinated. Your bravery is different from mine. It is not only strength, it is caring. That is powerful. Ethan felt nervous under her gaze. He had never been praised like this. He tried to speak modestly. We are not perfect. We make mistakes often, but we try to do the right thing. Lyra nodded. That is wise. I will remember it. Later, they walked through the maintenance tunnels. Ethan knew the paths well. He showed Lyra how engineers moved supplies and repaired systems. She asked questions about every tool and device. Ethan explained in simple words, sometimes using drawings on his tablet. At one point, a small alarm beeped. Ethan paused, looking at the console. That is strange. Probably just a sensor glitch. Lyra watched him carefully. You are cautious. That is wise. Humans are careful when needed. That is good. Ethan smiled faintly. Sometimes we have to be. As they moved through the tunnels, Lyra's communicator beeped. She glanced at it quickly and frowned. Then, she tapped it off. I have duties, she said quietly. But I prefer to learn about this place. And about humans. For now. Ethan nodded. I will show you what I can. Even if it is small. It is honest. They reached a quiet observation room. The window looked out into space. Stars sparkling in the distance. Lyra stepped closer to the glass. Ethan stood beside her. Do humans often look at the stars? She asked. Ethan nodded. Yes. It reminds us how small we are, and how big the universe is. It makes us think and dream. Lyra smiled faintly. Your dreams are different from mine. They are grounded, yet full of hope. That is rare in my experience. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. He had never thought of himself as someone remarkable, but with Lyra, he felt like his small life had meaning. She turned to him, her violet eyes shining. You are honest. You speak freely. That is unusual. Most beings I meet are careful, hiding what they feel. Ethan nodded. I try to be honest. Even if it is hard. Even if I say the wrong thing sometimes. Lyra's blush returned faintly, just as it had the day before. Even mistakes are interesting. They are real. That is important. They stood in silence for a moment, watching the stars. Ethan felt that this moment was special, though he could not explain why. He wanted to speak, to say something important, but the words did not come. Finally, Lyra spoke. Ethan, I am glad you are here. I do not know why, but I feel trust with you. That is rare for me. Ethan swallowed. I feel the same. I did not expect to meet someone like you. Lyra smiled softly. Perhaps we were meant to meet. Perhaps your small honesty is important to my mission. Ethan looked at her, confused. Your mission? She shook her head lightly. Some things must wait. For now, we learn. We share moments. That is enough. Ethan nodded, though curiosity burned in him. He decided not to press. Instead, he focused on the moment, enjoying the simple time spent with her. As the day ended, Ethan walked Lyra back to her quarters. She paused at the doorway, turning to him with that faint blush still glowing. Ethan, do not change your way of speaking. It is rare and brave. That is important. Ethan smiled nervously. I will try, even if it is not perfect. Lyra stepped inside her quarters, leaving the door slightly open. Good night, Ethan, she said softly. Good night, Lyra, he replied, watching her go. Ethan walked back to his own quarters, thinking about the day. He had never imagined that guiding a single alien guest could be so meaningful. He smiled to himself. Somehow, he felt that this was only the beginning. Something important was forming. Something between a human and an alien. Between honesty and trust. Between curiosity and courage. And he remembered the first words he had spoken accidentally. Welcome, gorgeous. He could not stop a small, nervous laugh. She had asked him to say it again. And somehow, he wanted to. Somehow, he wanted to say it again and mean it. But for now, he would wait. Tomorrow, he would continue showing Lyra the station. Tomorrow, they would continue learning from each other. And maybe, little by little, he would learn more about her, and she about him. For Ethan, the ordinary spaceport above Earth had suddenly become a place of wonder, and he could not wait to see what the next day would bring. The next few days passed quickly. Ethan continued guiding Lyra through the station, showing her the labs, workshops, and observation decks. Every day, she asked questions, laughed at human jokes, and tried small pieces of human food. Ethan enjoyed explaining things to her, and he noticed that she seemed happier and more relaxed each day. But not everything was calm. Ethan began noticing small, strange things around the station. Alarms beeped briefly and stopped on their own. Some maintenance panels were left open, wires slightly bent or scratched. At first, he thought it was normal machines sometimes failed, but something about the patterns felt deliberate. "Have you noticed anything strange, Ethan?" Lyra asked one afternoon as they walked through the lower corridors. Ethan hesitated. "Some things? Yes. Small glitches. Sensors going off. Panels left open." Lyra frowned. "That is not normal. I must be cautious." Ethan nodded. "I will keep watching. If anything happens, I'll tell someone." Lyra studied him. "You are careful, but not afraid. That is rare for humans. Most would hide or panic." Ethan smiled faintly. "I try to stay calm. It helps me think." Lyra nodded slowly. "I trust you. That is important." As the day went on, Ethan learned more about Lyra. She told him about her home world, a large empire of many planets, filled with strange cities and advanced technology. She described her people as disciplined and serious, often valuing logic over emotion. "My empire does not often meet humans," she said quietly. "Many of my people think humans are unpredictable, emotional, and dangerous. They do not know your strength." Ethan shrugged. "We are small and messy sometimes, but we try to help each other. That counts for something." Lyra's eyes softened. "You are different from what I expected. Honest. Brave in ways I did not know existed. That surprises me." Ethan felt his face warm. "I'm not perfect, but I do try." Lyra smiled faintly. "That is enough." One day, while walking through the cargo section, Ethan noticed a group of aliens he had not seen before. They moved quietly, watching Lyra and the station workers. Something about them felt off. He slowed down, keeping a careful eye. "Ethan," Lyra said, noticing his pause. "What is wrong?" I am not sure," he replied. "Some aliens." Lyra's expression hardened slightly. "I recognize their insignia. They are extremists in my empire. They do not like humans. They think humans should not be trusted. They will try to interfere with my mission." Made? Ethan felt a jolt of fear. Lyra shook her head. "I do not know yet, but I feel danger. We must be careful." From that day on, Ethan noticed the tension in the station. Security seemed tense, and the maintenance teams worked faster than usual. Alarms went off more frequently, though no one could find a cause. Lyra walked with him closely, her presence calm but alert. One evening, she called him aside. "Ethan, there is something I must tell you," she said quietly. They were in a quiet corridor, far from the main halls. "What is it?" Ethan asked. "I am not just a visitor," Lyra said. "I am a high-ranking envoy from my empire. I have responsibilities that are important. Some of my people do not agree with my mission. They may try to stop it. Or worse, they may try to harm humans and blame my failures on you." Ethan's eyes widened. You are royalty?" Lyra nodded slowly. "Not exactly royalty, but my rank is high. I am responsible for judging whether humans are worth an alliance. That is why some extremists do not want me here. They want to fail my mission and create conflict." Ethan swallowed. I will help. I don't know how yet, but I will try." Lyra's violet eyes softened. "I do not expect you to fight, Ethan. I only ask that you stay with me, guide me, and help me understand your world. That may be enough." Over the next day, Ethan learned more about Lyra's culture. She explained that compliments and words held great weight in her society. To call someone beautiful or brave was almost like making a promise or showing trust. That explained why she had reacted so strongly to his accidental, "Welcome, gorgeous." "I was not expecting your reaction," Ethan admitted, walking beside her. "I thought I made a mistake, but you smiled. You blushed. I didn't know what to do." Lyra laughed softly. "It was surprising, but not unpleasant. Humans speak differently. They do not always hide their feelings. That is refreshing." Ethan felt a small warmth in his chest. "I just said what I felt. I didn't mean to cause trouble." "You caused no trouble," Lyra said. "You showed honesty. That is more important than the words themselves." As they continued their tour, Ethan noticed a small alarm blinking on a maintenance panel. He went over to inspect it. The wires seemed tampered with. He frowned, noting the damage on his tablet. "Lyra," he said quietly, "someone has been messing with the systems. It looks deliberate." Lyra's expression became serious. "Yes, this is what I feared. The extremists are testing the station. They may try to create an accident and blame humans." Ethan's heart raced. We have to stop them." "But how?" Lyra shook her head. "I do not know yet. I will watch carefully. You must stay close and alert. That is all I can ask. Every time. Lyra, every time." Over the next few days, small incidents kept happening. A cargo crate almost fell, but Ethan and Lyra were there to catch it. A minor alarm went off in the reactor section, forcing a short evacuation. Each time, they worked together, learning to trust each other more. "You are brave, Ethan," Lyra said one evening as they walked through the gardens. "Not in battle, but in daily life. That is rare." Ethan smiled nervously. "I guess humans are like that. We try to do the right thing, even when it is scary." Lyra nodded. "That is admirable. I will remember it." "Kreensid vermounder. Kreensid 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 vermounder. One day, Lyra's communicator beeped again. This time, she glanced at it quickly, her face serious. "There is a warning from my empire. Some extremists are plotting something here. I must be cautious. You stay with me." Ethan nodded. "I will. I won't leave your side." They spent hours reviewing station layouts, exits, and maintenance areas. Lyra studied the security cameras and control panels, trying to find clues. Ethan helped her translate systems and understand human technology. "Ethan," Lyra said softly as they rested, "you are helpful in ways I did not expect. You see things others miss. That is important." "Alderminstar. With that is miss. You are Kotai. Alderminstai. With that I have minstai. You are Kotai." Ethan felt his face warm. "I just try to notice what I can. That is all." Lyra looked at him with a faint blush. "It is more than all. You make me feel safe, even in danger. That is rare." Ethan's heart raced. He did not know how to respond. I feel the same," he said quietly. Lyra smiled softly, her violet eyes glowing. Later, they walked through a quiet maintenance corridor. Ethan noticed that a panel near the reactor room was open again. This time, wires were slightly burned. He tapped the console, checking the readings. "Lyra," he said, "this is not normal. Someone is trying to sabotage the station. I can feel it." Lyra's expression hardened. "Yes. This is what I feared." The extremists want to create a disaster. They may blame humans. We must be careful. Ethan swallowed. We can stop them, right? Lyra nodded slowly. We will try. Together, we may succeed. Alone, it would be dangerous. That night, Ethan returned to his quarters. But sleep did not come easily. He thought about Lyra, the strange bond forming between them, and the danger that was growing in the station. He knew that his days would no longer be ordinary. Meanwhile, Lyra stood by her window, looking out at Earth. She whispered softly in her language, a song of stars and trust. She thought about the small human who had accidentally called her gorgeous. The human who had smiled honestly. The human who had saved crates and noticed small dangers. He is important, she said to herself. More than I realized. Perhaps he will change more than one life. The stars outside shimmered, and the station hummed quietly. But beneath the calm surface, a storm was forming. Extremists in her empire were plotting, testing, and waiting. And in the center of it all, a small human named Ethan and an alien envoy named Lyra were beginning to trust each other, forming a bond that neither could ignore. Ethan did not know what the future held. Lyra did not know either. But for the first time, both felt a connection that went beyond politics, beyond duty, and beyond fear. They were no longer just human and alien. They were allies, friends, and something more, growing quietly in the corridors of the space station. And the first real danger was waiting. Just around the corner,